Hello students, today we are going to deal with the subject television. Let us just know what history of television is. When India became independent in 1947, All India Radio was made a separate department under the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. It was in this context television was introduced in 1959. Television broadcast started from Delhi in September 1959 as part of All India Radio services. Programs were broadcasted twice a week for an hour a day on such topics just like community health, citizens' duty and rights and traffic, road sense, etc. The first major expansion of television in India began in 1972 when a second television station was opened in Bombay. This was followed by stations in Srinagar and Amritsar in 1973 and Calcutta, Madras and Lucknow in 1975. Relay stations were also set up in a number of cities to extend the coverage of the regional stations. In 1975, the government carried out the first test of the possibilities of satellite based television through the SITE program. The program was fairly successful in demonstrating the effectiveness of satellite based television in India, and the lessons learned from SITE were used by the government in designing and utilizing its own domestic satellite service INSAT that is being launched in 1982. By 1976, the government was running a television network of 8 television stations covering a population of 45 million spread over 75,000 square kilometers. Faced with the difficulty of administering such an extensive television systems, the television as part of the All India Radio, the government constituted Doordarshan, the National Television Network, as a separate department under the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. In 1982, television began to attain national coverage and develop as the government's preeminent media organization. Two events triggered the rapid growth of television that year. INSAT 1A, the first of the country's domestic communication satellite, became operational and made possible the networking of all the Doordarshan's regional stations. For the first time, Doordarshan originated a nationwide feed dubbed the National Program, which was fed from Delhi to the other stations. In November 1982, the government introduced color broadcast for the coverage of Asian Games. Advertising began in a very small way with under 1% of Doordarshan budget coming from advertising revenues in 76-77. In turn, Doordarshan began to shift the balance of its programming from educational and information programs to entertainment programs. The commercialization of Doordarshan saw the development of soap operas, situation comedies, dramas, musical programs, quiz shows and the like. But 1991, Doordarshan's earlier mandate to aid in the process of social and economic development and had clearly been diluted. Entertainment and commercial programs had begun to take center stage in the organization's programming. The strategies and also advertising had become to be Doordarshan's main source of funding. International satellite television was introduced in India by CNN through its coverage of the Gulf War in 1991. 3 months later, Hong Kong based Star TV started broadcasting the 5 channels into India using the AsiaSat-1 satellite. By early 1992, nearly 500,000 Indian households were receiving Star TV telecasts. This increase in viewership was being created and was made possible by the 60,000 and so small scale cable system operators who have mushroomed across the country. Taking advantage of the growth of the satellite television audience, a number of Indian satellite based television services were launched between 1991 and 1994. Prominent among them Zee TV, the first Hindi satellite channel. By the end of 1994, there were 12 satellite based channels available in India, all of them using a handful of different satellites. A number of Indian programmers and international media companies considered the introduction of new satellite television services for India. Despite the rapid growth of television channels from 1991 to 1996, television programming continues to be dominated by the Indian film industry also. International satellite programming has opened the competition in news and public affairs programming, with BBC and CNN International challenging Doordarshan's long-standing monopoly. Most of the other foreign broadcasters, for example ESPN and Discovery Channel, are focusing on special interest programming. Only Star TV's Star Plus channel offers broad-based English language entertainment programs. In 1994, the government ordered Doordarshan to raise its own revenues for future expansion. The new commercial mandate has gradually begun to change Doordarshan's perception of who are its primary constituents, from politicians to advertisers. The government's monopoly over television over the years has resulted in Doordarshan being tightly controlled by the successive governments. After the history, let us learn about the role and trends in television. The credit as to who was the inventor of modern television really comes down to two different people in different places, both working on the same problem at about the same time. Vladimir Kosma Zworykin, a Russian-born American inventor working for Westinghouse, and Philo Taylor Farnsworth, a privately backed farm boy from the state of Utah. Zworykin is usually credited as being the father of modern television. This was because of the patent for the heart of the TV, the electron scanning tube, was first applied by Zworykin in 1923 under the name of an iconoscope. The iconoscope was an electronic image scanner, essentially a primitive television camera. Farnsworth was the first of the two inventors to successfully demonstrate the transmission of television signals, which he did on September 7, 1927, using scanning tube of his own design. Now, let us see what is the role of television in the society. The role of a television in the society is a very prominent one, and it acts as a catalyst for change, promotes national integration, stimulates a scientific temper in the minds of the people, disseminates the message of the family planning as a means of population control and family welfare, provides essential information and knowledge in order to stimulate greater agricultural production. It also promotes and help preserve environment and ecological balance. It always highlights the need for social welfare measures, including the welfare of women, children and less privileged. It promotes interest in games and sports also. It always creates values of appraisal of art and cultural heritage. Cable television, sometimes known as a cable network, is a television network available via cable television. The system of delivering television programming to paying subscribers via radio frequency signals transmitted through coaxial cables or light pulses through fiber optic cables is the system. Conditional access system. This is a digital mode of transmitting TV channels through a set-top box. The transmission signals are encrypted and viewers need to buy a set-top box to receive and decrypt the signal. The STB is required to watch only pay channels. Next one is satellite television. Satellite television is a system of delivering television programming using signals relayed from communication satellites. The signals are received via an outdoor parabolic reflector antenna, usually referred to as a satellite dish, and a low noise block down converter LNB. A satellite receiver then decodes and the desired television program for viewing on a television set. Receivers can be external set-top boxes or a built-in television tuner. Satellite television provides a wide range of channels and services, especially to geographic areas without terrestrial television or cable television. Satellite television channels are broadcast in India by locally built satellites from ISRO such as INSAT. Another type of trend is direct to home. It is also otherwise called DTH, and this is defined as the reception of the satellite programs with a personal dish in an individual home. DTH does not compete with CAS. Cable TV and DTH are two methods of delivery of television content. CAS is integral to both the systems in delivering the pay channels. Cable TV is through cable networks and DTH is wireless, reaching direct to the consumer through a small dish and a set-top box. Another recent trend is Internet Protocol Television, IPTV. This is launched only in some cities around 2006 and 7 by MTNL and BSNL, later expands to many urban areas and still it is in the system of expansion. Pay-per-view TV. If you want any satellite channel, call the company that provides that service and you will receive on your monitor the program you want. To put it another way, you get DTH or DBS just the same way you get cable TV now. One has to pay for it, that is why such service is also called pay-per-view TV. So, there are companies which provide this kind of service, such as you can see in your drawing room a movie even on the day of its release. Another one is LPTV, low power TV. Using low power transmitters, local TV can be operated to serve consumers or customers within a radius of 25 kilometers. In 1983 and 84, the PC Joshi working group on recommended that the lower power transmitting stations should be made production centers so that local problems could be highlighted and the local authorities will be knowing about the problems and take action with the local communication. Conscientization among the local people also is possible through this type of TV. This is as necessary as globalization. There was a localization attempt in the Kheda village in Gujarat in the 1980s and the project was successful, but for some reason it was discontinued. Another aspect of TV is videotext. This is a form of information or interactive communication technology in which wide usage in several advanced countries. It works with the help of public telephone network. It is diagrammed showing transmission via a regular telephone line which carries the user's keyed instructions back to the central store where the frame selection is made. Videotext services are popular only in advanced countries with gradual improvements taking place by the way of digital telephone exchanges and replacement of conventional telephone wires with optical fibers. There is also Teletext, which is a simple technology which can be used advantage for public communication. This is a form of broadcast technology by means of which several pages of textual information can be transmitted on an already existing television channel. Teletext information is encoded in the so-called vertical blanking interval of a television screen, which is invincible in the normal course of television. Facilities exist in Teletext to enable viewers to choose a particular page of teletext containing relevant information which serves their needs and also recall the particular page. For example, a businessman waiting to know the latest trend in the stock, about 300 teletext pages can be accommodated per TV channel, and pages of teletext magazine can incorporate illustrations like graphs, bar charts, etc. Different countries have teletext services which conform to different technical standards, and a universal code of transmission is yet to be invited. Videotext and teletext are used to interact with the public by communication. The latest trend in today's television is fiber optics or virtual reality. Through the ultra modern device, fiber optics, we can transmit huge quantities of information. Fibers used for this are glass strands as thin as the human hair, which can carry many millions of bits of information. Holograms created by the computer can help one to design artificial reality, also known as virtual reality, that is VR, and make plans for a project more real and lifelike. This becomes useful for engineering planners, urban layout designers, construction engineers and others who want to put their ideas into some sort of semblance to reality, so that others can understand their ideas more concretely. The television of the future will be more telepresence than vision. Vision is less real than presence. In telepresence, the objects and human beings may become more lifelike as they could appear three-dimensional. There is also interactive TV video system. This interactive or two-way system allows you to communicate with suppliers and place orders for goods that affect payment through your bank, credit cards, etc. The principle of teleshopping is exactly the same. Now let us learn about the formats of television and script writing. The different types of programs on television are such as TV news, news bulletins and current affairs, TV documentaries or features, interview programs, quiz programs and game shows, children programs, and programs for farmers and industrial workers, music and dance programs, TV commercials, soap operas. The programs can be varying from different needs, just like the information need. For information need, you have news and current affairs, which includes news bulletins, direct coverage of parliament and state assembly proceedings, direct coverage of national events, news magazines or programs on issues and personalities in the news. And also it includes sports, general information such as the issues on human rights, consumer affairs, legal issues, gender equality, science and technology, economy and business tourism, etc. There is also issues like education, which covers higher education TV, school enrichment programs, and social education like health, fitness and hygiene, agriculture and rural development, women, children and youth, and social service messages. All these are under educational category. Under the culture issues, it includes programs related to language, literature, arts, theatre, classical music and dance heritage. There is also issues connected to entertainment, just like drama, which covers plays, socials or situational comedies or daily soaps. Film based issues like feature films, songs and dance sequences and film magazine programs also will be covered. Light and popular music and folk music programs and other programs like game shows, quiz and folk shows also will be covered. Based upon the information needs, the formats of the television programs are also planned. So, the various formats used for the delivery of message on television are being selected or should be selected, keeping in mind the target group and also the content of the messages. Like for example, child may find to watch a documentary on ecological imbalance, but they may find an animation film interesting. Moreover, the preferences of the audience also should be considered while selecting the format. Like for example, let us take some issues just like actuality. Here in this format, the audience sees and hears people in their undertaking being discussed. The programs may be introduced by a host, but for then or rather than interviewing people in programs, cuts directly to the people involved. For example, child laborers working in a fireworks factory. Another type of format is animation, a series of still drawings or individual shots that are combined to give an illusion of movement, that is the 25 separate pictures that can be made into one picture showing a full animation per second. Making animation is really time consuming and also an expensive activity, and also as each frame of the film has to be shot separately. There are also demonstrations, and this is about some recipes or other articles preparation or working of equipment or any other machines, often from the part of the TV programs. These could be within the studio or on the field demonstrations. There are documentaries also, and they feature any subject of interest or give detailed information or real situations about the people or any news, like documentary on vermiculture, puppetry, environment, political situations, regional handicrafts and achievements of Indian Railways, about a government, and so on and so forth. They create interest, enlightenment or even entertainment. TV documentary takes the form of a direct presentation of the substance of a program or an experience or a situation. There are also graphics, which means pictures. The camera moves across the series of painted pictures which are created on a particular topic. They are divided into several sections or episodes to make the message explanatory. There is drama that have been very effective in involving the viewers in TV program. Since they represent the life realistically, a drama play that presents a true life story in a dramatized form with actors playing the parts of the story characters makes the story more interesting. There is also illustrated talk. In this, formally an expert or a host presents a talk of or information using the illustrations related to his talk. These illustrations may be the examples that the presenter has in the studio or in the field. There are also interviews, the face-to-face conversation between a host and the interview or an invite. These are one of the most difficult programs to do well. It could be an interview of renowned person or an outstanding personality, literary person, group or so on and so forth. There will be panel shows which have a group of experts and a moderator who introduces the experts, explains the theme, anchors the discussion and concludes. Mostly this format is used for discussion of current events or affairs where the audience is interested in learning various opinions on an issue. The puppets also facilitate in different types of children programs, are especially attractive for the children and add a novelty to the programs also. They are more cheaper also, as they require short period as compared to actors of play. Many times puppet is used in the role of a comparer. There are talk shows which are conducted by a host or a guest expert, where the host introduces the topic and invites views or opinions or experiences of the participants on the same. Now let us see how the program of television is being produced, that is regarding the production of television programs. It is being divided into three stages, that is pre-production, production and post-production. The pre-production stage includes everything you do before entering the studio or reaching the shooting location. It involves idea generation, research, scripting, discussions with all the crew members and talent search, arranging equipment, video and audio tapes, properties, costumes, sets, designing or location hunting and booking of editing shifts. The first thing to know about every production is what you want in the program to look like, or just like you need to know what you want to cook. This is the pre-production stage and you need a clear idea of what you want to prepare. Only then will you be able to make a good program understandable by the audience. Once the idea is clear, the next stage is how to get from the idea to the television image. To translate an idea on screen effectively, you need a good and detailed script. This is very essential to get desired results. If you have all the raw ingredients ready in your kitchen, you can easily cook the food very fast. Similarly, if you have worked well in the stage of program production, the other two stages becomes easy and workable also. And coming to the production stage, when you are on the studio floor or on location, you are ready to shoot or are actually shooting. You can compare this to the situation when you were in the kitchen carrying out the process of cooking food. It includes managing all the facilities, handling of talent and crew members, controlling the crowd, shooting without hurdles and solving any problem related on the spot at that time. In the post-production stage, the program production will happen, and it is the stage when you get the final shape of the program, just like the way you garnished every food item to be presented on the dining table. It includes cutting the recorded visuals into appropriate length, arranging the visuals in a proper sequence, use of desired effects for the visuals or text captions, commentary recording, music, song recording and finally assembly of the entire program. Here I would like to share some hints also in production of video or a TV script. You should always keep the copy simple by retaining one idea at a time. The writer should think visually constantly, that is, emphasize the visual, because the viewers are conscious first of what they see than what they hear. Hence, the words should fit in the picture, not picture fit in the words. Work out good coordination between words and picture. There should not be too many scenes. Maximum 3 scenes are advisable in case of 10 seconds. Use minimum players, and players are principals, that is the actors and actresses with speaking rules and extras, the non-speaking but provide background. Do not waste the opening, as the first few seconds are of vital importance to capture the attention and involvement of viewers, humor, surprise scenes, conflict between two individuals, etc. Follow the sequence after opening. Identify the reasons to buy the product demonstration, like suggestion, request, command to take action. So, with this, the topic of television is over. Are there any questions?
What is the difference between news production and program production?
Yes, of course, there is a difference in the production of news programs, and whatever I told you about the production, the pre-production, production and post-production aspects does not involve in the production of news programs. It is only just like a flow, but the host is supposed to get prepared with all the questions before. Any more questions? With this, I conclude the topic television, which is the important sector in the communication media. Thank you.